ASMR psychologist. Welcome to my whispered reading series, Self-Help Books. Today I'm going to be reading to you a little bit more of my favourite self-help book. It's called Reinventing Your Life, and it's by two American psychologists called Jeff Young and Janet Klosko. Now, if you missed my last video where I started to read this, and I also explained why it's such a great book, you can watch that video here. Okay. Now, in the last video, we read a little bit about a man called Jed who had an emotional deprivation life trap. And today we're going to be reading about a woman called Heather who has what is called a vulnerability life trap. Before we start, just to explain why I'm using the ASMR whisper. The whispering voice triggers a state a little bit like REM sleep, in which our minds are primed to learn. So if you can listen to this really important information whilst it's being whispered to you, your mind's going to be more open to the information and more able to take it on board and use it. Okay, so if you're sitting comfortably, I will begin. Okay, so Heather is a 42-year-old woman with tremendous potential, trapped in her own home because her fears are so crippling. Although she takes the tranquilizer Ativan to treat her anxiety, she is still stuck in the vulnerability life trap. In a sense, Heather has no life. She is too afraid to do anything. Life is fraught with danger. She prefers to stay home where it is safe. This is Heather speaking now. I know there's lots of great stuff to do in the city. I like the theatre. I like nice restaurants. I like seeing friends. But it's just too much for me. I don't have fun. I'm too worried all the time that something horrible is going to happen. Heather worries about car crashes, collapsing bridges, getting mugged, catching a disease such as AIDS, and spending too much money. It certainly is not surprising that a trip to the city is no fun for her. Heather's husband Walt is very angry with her. He wants to go out and do things. Walt says, and rightly so, that it is not fair for him to be deprived. More and more he goes ahead and does things without her. Heather's parents were exceptionally overprotective of her. Her parents were Jewish Holocaust survivors who spent much of their childhood in concentration camps. They treated her like a China doll, as she put it. They continually warned her about possible, but unlikely, threats to her welfare. She might catch pneumonia, be trapped in a subway, drown, or caught in a fire. It is no wonder that she spends most of her time in a painful state of anxiety, trying to make sure that her world is safe. Meanwhile, almost everything that is pleasurable is draining out of her life. Before coming to us, Heather tried several anti-anxiety medications over a 3-year period. Medication is the most common treatment for anxiety. Most recently, she went to a psychiatrist who prescribed Ativan. She took the pills every day, and the medication did provide some anxiety-provoking situations. She could travel, see friends, go to movies, and eventually decided to take on a part-time job that required commuting. As part of her treatment, we helped Heather become better at estimating the odds of bad things happening. We continually demonstrated how she exaggerated the risk of catastrophe in harmless situations and showed her that she overestimated her own vulnerability and weakness outside her home. She learned to take reasonable precautions. She stopped asking her husband and friends for reassurance. Her marriage improved, and she got more pleasure from her life. Okay. This next section has the title, The Irony of Repetition. Jed and Heather illustrated 2 of the 11 life traps: emotional deprivation and vulnerability. As we discuss other patients, you will read about the other life traps: subjugation, mistrust and abuse, abandonment, defectiveness, entitlement, dependence, failure, unrelenting standards, and social exclusion. You will probably recognize elements of yourself in several of these. That we keep repeating the pain of our childhood is one of the core insights of psychoanalytic psychotherapy. Freud called this repetition compulsion. The child of an alcoholic grows up to marry an alcoholic. The abused child grows up to marry an abuser or becomes an abuser himself. The sexually molested child grows up to be a prostitute. The overly controlled child allows others to control her. This is a baffling phenomenon. Why do we do this? Why do we reenact our pain, prolonging our suffering? Why don't we build better lives and escape the pattern? Almost everyone repeats negative patterns from childhood in self-defeating ways. This is the strange truth with which therapists contend. Somehow, we manage to create in adult life conditions remarkably similar to those that were so destructive in childhood. A life trap is all the ways in which we create these patterns. The technical term for a life trap is a schema. The concept of a schema comes from cognitive psychology. Schemas are deeply entrenched beliefs about ourselves and the world, learned in early life. These schemas are central to our sense of self. To give up our belief in a schema would be to surrender the security of knowing who we are and what the world is like. Therefore, we cling to it, even when it hurts. These early beliefs provide us with a sense of predictability and certainty. They are comfortable and familiar. In an odd sense, they make us feel at home. This is why cognitive psychologists believe schemas or life traps are so difficult to change. Okay. I'm going to finish there.